Hello, I'm Felicia Vereen, always known as Fee.
Hey, Fee, and I'm your girl, Sharita 3, better known as Red.
And we are Inspire Her, the Total Woman Podcast, a new podcast all about uplifting you.
Yes.
Because friends, face it, you are awesome.
We'll be chatting up about topics we love to talk about, all the things we as women must juggle every day, and the ish we complain about. But who's listening? Girl,
we'll chat about the struggle, the job, and about him. You know who we talking about.
Girl.
That boo, husband, boyfriend, ex, whatever you calling them today. Our lovely hellions, kids.
Our angels. But seriously, friends, life happens, and we don't always get a chance to talk about it. We take it on the chin and we keep it moving.
Because that's what we were told to do.
Yep.
But here on Inspire Her, the Total Woman Podcast with Red and Fee, we are the friends you love to hang out with. We are here to inspire her, the Total Woman.
Yes.
Hey, Red, how are you?
Hey, Fee, I'm good. How are you, girl? I had me a little massage today, so I'm feeling good.
A massage? I need to get me one. I keep saying that. And the last time I had one, I almost melted on that lady table. She had to wake me up. I think I was snoring a little bit.
It'd be like, that's been an hour already. Then I found out I had 2 accounts open at Massage Envy, and I have like 7 massages I need to take care of. So I'm going to be having me some massages.
When I come to Richmond, I'm going to stop by Massage Envy and act like I'm you.
I'll donate one of my sessions for you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I just came back off of vacation from Mexico.
Girl, I needed that. I had to turn the big 5-0. It's like, oh my goodness. So we had a good time and missed you at the party.
I know, and I got to make up for it. But listen, did you read all the happy birthdays from our listeners and Facebook friends and group friends? Everybody was saying happy birthday, Red.
Yes, I did, and I appreciate that.
Yes,
so, girl, Cabo was so peaceful.
I bet it was.
Yes, and speaking of peace, we have Shirl Cotton, and her title is Finding My Peace. Shirl is the owner of Braids Express. She is like the baddest braid tech in the Richmond, Chesterfield area. So how Shirl came to be invited on the podcast, she's actually across the hall from my normal beautician. Shout out to Miss Janika. She's awesome. So she's across from her, and she braided my hair. And for some reason, we just began to talk a little bit more. I guess she felt comfortable with me, and I guess I have that warm spirit being a therapist. And you pat myself on the back. So she felt comfortable with me. And girl, after hearing her story, I said, you know what? You need to be on our podcast. The story that she was telling me was just so awesome. And it's funny because she said, girl, I don't even listen to the radio on my way to work. I listen to different podcasts. And I said, you need to listen to ours. So that was like, you need to be on Inspire Her with Red and Fee.
Right.
And after listening to her story, I'm just like, girl, I remember just sitting in her chair with her and just sharing her tears with her. And we just kind of like tears of joy, sadness, everything. And I was like, this young lady is amazing. So the title for today is Finding My Peace. Friends, please welcome the beautiful and talented Shirl Cotton.
Hey, Shirl.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
How are you today?
I'm great. I can't be no better. I can't complain. God is good.
Girl, that is always good.
All the time.
We are going to get into your lifestyle. I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself, Shirl. How you got here?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I was born and raised on the South Side. I graduated from Georgia High School. I have a 17-year-old daughter.
Okay.
I'm married. Next month, it'll be 3 years that I've been married. And I've been an entrepreneur for the last 4 years, since 2018.
That is awesome.
So, of course, throughout my journey, where I'm at now, I've been through a lot, but as of today, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Wow, that's awesome. Tell us about your business, Shirl, and how you got started in the hair care industry.
Well, I'm a braider, and I always was doing hair. As a child, teenager, I was always doing my cousin's hair and my hair, but I never took it as serious. Growing up, I was told I wasn't going to be able to make money doing hair. And that always kind of discouraged me. Also, by me, getting pregnant at 17, having my daughter at 18, it was kind of no room for stepping out on faith or no maybes. I had to get it. I have a child, I'm young, I got to get it. So 2018 is when I opened up my first initial shop, Braze Express. However, it pretty much fell in my lap. And I say fell in my lap because 4 years prior to that, I was a braid assistant for Karen Turner at Sew-Ins Express.
Hmm.
And while I was her braid assistant, I also was a full-time store manager working at Detail Law. So I'm working 48 hours a week or more because I'm salaried at Detail Law. And I'm leaving Detail Law or setting my schedule so that I'm also in the shop assisting Karen. So I'm assisting her. I met her. She just happened to be my hairstylist. I was actually going to Janika at the time. So Karen was the first person in the city who started out bundles, the bundle packages, where you purchase bundles and you get a free sew-in. And it was like a $99, $199 deal. So you couldn't beat it. So I went to her and she was talking about her business was increasing and her clientele was increasing, and she was looking for an assistant who could braid. So I was like, I could braid. And she was like, you sure? So I'm like, yeah, I've been braiding all my life. You just talking about braid downs, I could definitely do that. So I ended up braiding for her, and we ended up developing a friendship, and it lasted for 4 years. Unfortunately, Karen passed away back in 2017. But when she passed away, it was more so like I felt like everything that I was working for and working towards had just ended. She Everybody that she was around, she impacted and she put them on. If you was around her, you were going to learn how to do something. It was no way. So by her passing, I just felt like I was done with hair, period. So I'm just done at that point. And her aunt ended up calling me and was like, I don't know what you got going on right now. Of course, her family closed her shop. So she was like, but I keep riding past this building, and this building on Hall Street, it's empty. It's been empty for a long, long time. And it used to be a nail salon. So you should call these people. Long story short, I called the man. He was just like, give me $600 and the building yours.
Mm.
Oh,
So yes,
wow.
yes, yes. So gave him the $600, signed a 2-year commercial lease. I had probably one client a day. I was
Wow.
working. I had took up a little pickup job at the runner office at Kingly Ones, working 9 to 5. And still, building the shop up. My daughter and her best friend helped me. They put each other on their shoulders and was painting. My homeboy Swelly, shout out to Swelly, he did my floors for like $500. Like I literally took $3,000 and turned that whole building around. So,
Wow.
yes. So I was working at Kingly Ones and I was doing like one client a day. And all of a sudden, I mean, all of a sudden, my phone went crazy. That
Wow.
one client a day went from 3 to 4 to 5 clients a day. I'm working from 9 a.m. to midnight at this point. I'm like, really? booming. And this is like 2 months after I opened up my shop. So there for 2 years, everything went amazing. I have a brother. He came home. We ended up partnering, and I ended up opening up another shop. That was called Fades and Braids 2020. We actually signed the commercial lease October 2019 for 2 years. And we didn't open the doors until January 2020. And then, boom, the pandemic hit.
Mm, that hurt
Yes.
everybody.
So
Yes.
the shop was closed for like 3, 4 months. Um, that didn't really stop me. I was actually going to my faithfuls. I was going to them, um, and I made it work. I made it work. I never stopped. I never stopped.
You had
So
invested
I
so
did that.
much.
Yes, yes, I invested so much, spent so much, and I just wasn't going to stop. And also, I have my daughter looking at me. So I'm like, no, I'm not stopping. So at that point, by the time we opened up the shop, things were going good. However, the energy wasn't good.
Mm,
Like the energy
Important.
was it was just draining to go to work, draining. So for the most part, I don't know if I should really get into this part yet, but it was just draining. And I was doing Janika hair last year about this time because I went through what I went through a year ago. And if I didn't go through that, Janika wouldn't have told me about where I'm at now, and I wouldn't be speaking to you all now.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that's deep. It's really deep. The last year, far as my career and my personal life and how it intertwines is just really deep. So I went through what I was going through, and Janika told me about the suite that just was finishing being done. So I said, oh, okay, I'm coming over there. I already knew it. So, I end up going with Janika where I met Red. So, yeah, I've been at the suite and it's almost a year. And when I tell you that my clientele is bigger now than it ever been in the last 4 years, I can't do nothing but thank God.
Yes. So my other question is, how do you, now I know what it is for me, but how do you maintain your success and have so many repeat customers? What's been the key to your success?
The key to my success is my authenticity. Me
Mm,
being who I am, me giving back to my clients the way I do. And when I say give back, I don't burn a hole in my clients' pockets.
mm-hmm.
I really take into consideration, of course, my time and the hair and the products. But I also take into consideration, I want my clients to come back. I want them to have I want to build a rapport, not just them come sit in my chair and I do their hair and then that's just it. Because you can go in anybody shop or you can go in anybody home nowadays and get your hair done for the low, actually for the low. But is that person going to come back? So I think me being as transparent as I am, um, and just me being, giving back for the most part is the why.
I can attest to that, and I'm a repeat customer. I think this is my second time going. It's a very positive space, positive energy. So I can attest to everything she said. You guys, she's awesome, very warm, just a great person with a big heart.
So let me ask you a question. Having the history that you had being a single mother at a very young age, having to raise a child, having to make ends meet, and stepping out, being an entrepreneur, and then going through COVID, because I remember how I actually lost my job during COVID. And I know how scary it felt, but then I had to pull myself back together. How did that feel for you? Like, I know we're talking about finding your peace, but at that point, your peace gets a little pulled apart, shaken up, mixed around. How do you pull yourself back together during that time?
Well, actually, when I was working and a store manager for a retail company and having to be away from home, not even just working inside the store, but I was also the community outreach captain. And we also did management meetings outside of Virginia. So that tied into a portion of me being the sole provider for my child, and my child is growing up and she's noticing that mama's not home. But she also see that my mama do take me over my dad's house. My dad watch my mom, but I'm not having that relationship. So my daughter actually told me, she said, it's cool going over there, but I'm not I'm not building a relationship with you, mom. So when she told me, I immediately went to my grandma and I told my nanny what my daughter just told me. And I told my mom, and they just was like, you need to find another job for the most part. You just need to find another job because this one isn't working far as your hours, right? So I go and I tell Karen what my daughter is saying and what my mom said and my grandma said. And Karen says, go ahead and quit DTLR because that's where I was working at. Go ahead and quit DTLR and you can run this. You can run this Braids Express. I will pay you. I'm sorry. You can run this Sew-Ins Express because I named Braids Express after her. So it was Sew-Ins Express. She said, you can run this Sew-Ins Express. I want to open up another one. So by you running this will give you that time that you need for your child.
Wow.
So when I stepped out on faith from DTLR, I actually went on a leave of absence from the company because I was unsure. I was unsure how things was going to go. I just was unsure. So I did take a leave of absence and I drew my 401k. So that's how I ended up getting the money or whatnot. So when I did end up, having the money, it came from DTLR. So by me actually leaving DTLR at that time, a couple of months later, Karen died.
That's the young
So
lady's picture that you have in your shop, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So a couple of months later, Karen died. So I'm just like devastated because I just got a whole bunch of whys, you know.
Right.
But for some reason, my worries turned into, you ain't got to worry no more. This is it for you. You don't ever have to go and clock in nobody's job because I'm going to make a way. And I actually never gave up on my clientele. I never really thought about what I'm going to do next. Because I've always been booked, 6 to 8 weeks in advance. So I know that's God's favor. And I also feel like, I definitely have angels watching over me. But I also feel like the situation with Karen and the women in her shop, she had 4 women in her shop. And I could say that all 4 women in her shop has their own shop. They're
Wow.
on their own.
So
So when
Karen
I
was
say,
definitely an angel.
yes, I feel like she definitely made a sacrifice to the people that she was around because everybody is doing something.
That
Everybody
is
is
good.
yes. So when it came down to COVID, I just I felt like I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop because if I was going to stop, it definitely would have led me to a whole nother way of depression that I didn't need because we already dealing with COVID. So I gotta make a way. I got to.
So listening to your story, Cheryl, what helped you or what kept you believing in yourself? Not having the self-doubt or not giving up, aside from God, what's in you that kept you moving forward and not giving up?
Honestly, I have no choice. My daughter, my
Mm-hmm.
daughter, my daughter, because she known so much at a young age. And as far as her father, he battles with addiction. And I knew that she was disappointed by one parent and she couldn't be disappointed by two.
Mm.
Hmm.
So no matter what, I gotta make a way. I got to.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of times we live our lives and we think we got to make ends meet. We got to get out here and get that money so that our kids can have a good life when a lot of times our kids just want us. And you were
Right,
able to see that and you were able to find a different way to do it. A lot of people don't have the ability to do that. So I commend you. And I also commend Karen, God bless her soul, um, for not only helping you find a job and a career, but inspiring you to do so.
mm-hmm.
yep, yep.
And every
She
sound like
really,
everybody in the shop.
yes, yes,
Exactly. That
yes,
everything attached to me wins. That
That's
song,
right.
everything
Everybody wins.
wins.
yes.
Yes. Cheryl, tell us about your background and your upbringing and how it shaped who you are today.
Well, who I am today, I would have never thought I would have been, especially how I came up. Um, when they say it takes a village, it literally takes a village
Hmm.
because what I remember from my childhood was something that I've never wanted my child to even know or witness. And you talk about my mom being a single parent, my father incarcerated, she doing her best at trying to raise my brother and I, but it's not enough, you know? And then as a child, I don't know that it's not enough. But as an adult now, I know that it's not enough. And I know that she was literally trying to do her best. So I went from, I was living with my aunt, which is her twin sister. Um, I also stayed with a lady, and I say a lady because at that time that's who she was. I was babysitting her children. She had several children, and I was babysitting them. I was like 13, and my mom wasn't stable far as housing. She was living with my grandparents at the time.
You are listening to Inspire Her, the Total Woman with Red and Fee. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page.
It was just best for me to stay where I was at, and which was at that lady house. And that lady ended up becoming, I call her my godmother because she literally did everything a mother was supposed to do. And I was 13 years old. She made a way. I mean, she made sure that I got back and forth to school. I had a roof over my head. She didn't ask my mom for anything, for
Wow.
nothing, nothing. And to this day, me and her still have a relationship. But I didn't go back to my mom until I was like in the 10th grade. I was like 15. And me and my mama relationship was never perfect. I'll be 36 next week. And when I say this is the best relationship that we probably had, this is the best relationship that we probably had. But for the most part, it was always, I felt like it was always a favoritism thing when it came down to my brother and I. I have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me. He served pretty much, he did like a 4 year sentence, came home for like a year, and then turned around and did like 8.5 years. So he did pretty much like 12.5 years in jail. And it's crazy because he could cut hair and I could braid hair. So he was in and out of jail my teenage years for the most part. And also, when it came down to, my 20s as well, when I was a teenager, I was like 18, 19. I had my daughter, and he had came home from jail, and I didn't want to see my brother without. So I gave him my apartment. Like, you can have it. I'll
Oh,
still pay the
wow.
rent. Yeah,
Big
I
heart.
still pay
Oh,
the rent.
wow. That was nice.
I still pay the rent. I'm gonna go live with mom because she can help me with my kid. So he came home. He wasn't even home for 6 months. Next thing you know, the police was kicking in my door because he got indictment. So that's when
Mm.
he ended up going to jail for 8.5 years. Yes. That left me with a whole price tag. Of course, you got to pay your rent, but that's on a monthly basis. When that something like that happened, you got a whole garnishment for the whole lease amount
Mm.
and the damages. And at the time, I'm 20 years old. My wages had started being garnished. I ain't making no money. So, of course, I need to be with my mom or be with somebody. So that's when I started trying to find different avenues. So I started working at Sally Beauty because I'm good with hair products and stuff like that. So I started working at Sally Beauty, worked there part-time for 5 years. And in the midst of all that, from the age of 20 to 30, I worked Richmond nightclubs. I was a bartender, waitress. So that was definitely extra income for me. That definitely helped me a whole lot. In the midst of all that, I'm still, working, trying to maintain. By the time my brother ended up at home, it was like 2015. He starts to cut hair, but he was cutting hair while he was incarcerated. So he's cutting hair. Fast forward to when I opened up the shop, I signed a lease or whatnot, and that was good for me. So me and him came together, along with an investor, and we decided to open up a unisex, a barbershop and a braiding salon, and name it Fades and Braids. So this is the shop that we opened up January 2020. So me and my brother, I think for the most part, looking back at it, and I can say this now because I've healed. But honestly, I don't think we've ever gotten to know each other because that
Mm.
was 12 years of him missing, being incarcerated, and we're only 5 years apart. So I don't think we knew each other, but that doesn't give him on a pass on the things that he done because we was raised by the same people, and some things is not fine morally, and it's just not fine. So we opened up the shop 2020, and everything was good. Everything was good. Next thing you know, of course, I got married, and we're doing things. We're doing couple things. Like, his girlfriend, my husband, another friend, we're doing things. And the energy just shifted. The energy shifted. So now it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So for the most part or whatnot, we still working, and things got hectic. Things got hectic between my brother and I. Never in a million years did I think that the family that you could give your last to will be the family that would dog you out like it's no other.
Mm.
I'm
Wow.
talking about I'm talking about take away the strength in your body. I thought I couldn't breathe.
Mm.
The things that my brother was going around saying amongst people was insane. For the first time in my life, my daughter is 17 years old. I met my husband. Well, I've been known him, but when we started to like date, my daughter was 14. I never had anyone in my life treat my daughter and I with the utmost respect.
Mm.
Put us first. This is the most stable I done been in my life, and that's
Wow.
because of my husband. Nobody cared about what I have going on. Nobody cares about what you got going on. They care about what you can do for them. They
Right.
don't ask you, is you okay? So the whole time I'm helping people and I'm there for people, I needed someone to be there for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always that person in the family that they could call and ask for anything. I'm there. I'm dropping what I'm doing and I'm there. But nobody's been there for me. And it took me this situation with my brother to really sit back and realize that I was on the verge. I lost it. It was only one thing left. I contemplated on my action
Mm.
because I didn't think that family could sit around and discuss other people or what they think going on in other people's households. My brother had the whole city of Richmond, anybody that knew me, thinking that my husband is abusing me.
Oh
My
wow.
husband is abusing me.
Mm.
You don't
Wow.
do that. You don't do that because I'm happy. Because I'm happy and I found my peace.
Mm.
So because you can't see a black woman happy and got everything that she want and need and don't have any complaints, she can't be happy. Or unless somebody putting their hands on her, that's crazy to me. So that just broke me to my last core because my mom took his side, but she was still trying to play my friend. And you can't do that because I'm hurting. So I
Mm-hmm.
could no longer, in the way God worked, He knew that I needed to be out. He knew I needed to be out. He knew that I needed to focus on myself and my household. So He
Mm-hmm.
took me out of that equation. He took me out of it. And it also led me to a place where, and I told Red this, it had me questioning what my clients think of me.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it broke me. It broke me. And I had to learn to forgive my brother because
Mm.
I don't really think he know no better. Anytime that you blatantly open your mouth to hurt your sister who's been there from you from day one, it's it's crazy.
So,
So,
what advice would you give to people who have been hurt by loved ones?
well, honestly, and this is just my opinion, I would
Mm-hmm.
and I would never go into business with a family member again.
Mm.
I would never. I never even thought about going into business with another person. So I don't even know why I gave that a option. I really don't. But it would never happen again.
Do you feel like you love
protect.
too hard? You love too
Ye-
hard sometimes?
yes, and I want to see. I want to. It's like I know what Karen did for me, so I'm not trying to be another Karen, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to share
Pay
what
attention.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And let
Pay
me
attention.
say this to you, Cheryl. I think there are people out there that will value you just like you valued Karen. You just happen to meet a wrong person, or you just happen to have trusted the wrong person. I wouldn't give up on trying to help other people because you found your peace and you want to help other people be able to find theirs. And that's a God given gift.
Yeah, I'm not really. I wouldn't say other people, but far as my family goes, I would never mix that again. I
Mm-hmm.
would never go because I, it's like I said, this incident happened a year ago,
Hmm.
and it took me many sessions of therapy, many nights up listening to God's word, many nights reading to actually find my peace to pick up the phone and call my mom and tell her I need her.
Mm.
So I just want to protect the future of my family members. Like I don't want to do that with them. Let's just keep it as family.
Right.
And one of the questions was, what does finding your peace mean? And when did you realize you had lost it? And a couple of times you had mentioned when you were in the presence of certain family members, the energy was off. Do you equate that to like not feeling at peace during those times as the energy being off?
Is yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Because there was no way that I could have been okay, you know, with what I was feeling and going through then. Knowing how I feel now and how I felt then, I never want to go back there.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
A dark place.
Yes, it was really, really dark. Really dark. I was grieving. I was grieving. I
Yeah,
was
you can
grieving a
actually
lot.
grieve the loss of relationships. It don't always have to be death um, that we grieve. It's losses of relationship, and it's almost like you knew at that moment that your relationship with your brother would never be the same again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And to this day, we haven't had a conversation about it because he said that he don't know how to talk. So I wanted a conversation, but in order for me to get to how I am now, I had to get through how I was. And I wasn't going to get through it wanting or demanding answers, because even if he did say or what he was going to say, who's to say that I was going to agree with it or whatnot? It was just going to put me in a darker space.
All right.
Sometimes you have to do whatever you can do to protect your peace. And I
Mm-hmm.
know I've had to.
Yes.
I put a post out on Facebook last night, yesterday, that said, the scariest thing about me is that I can never talk to you. I can love you from afar and never talk to you again.
Mm,
Because by all means, I'm going to protect my peace. I'm at an age
Mm-hmm.
where that is very important for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
very
Absolutely.
important.
some people don't care
No,
because they live in a world of distrust, um,
Chaos.
backbiting, and
Mm-hmm.
chaos. Yeah, chaos. And so peace is not something that they're familiar with. They
because
don't know how to get to
destruction is
that
all they
point.
know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So,
totally understand.
yes. Sure, you mentioned lots of therapy. So, how has therapy and other life coaching supported you with your journey to finding your peace?
Well, I'm not really a talker.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes good energy, great vibes for me to want to tell you how I feel. And I didn't have that. I didn't have that. And I had to do something different. And I knew that majority of my issues that I have come from childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only, did my brother spread lies and rumors about me, got my door kicked in, I was garnished for 2 years. But as a child, when I was a child, he used to do things like burn me with a lamp bulb, like a light bulb, but take the top off the lamp and burn my leg, um, cut me over top of my eye. He used to do things like that. But that didn't trigger. I didn't realize that until the things he started doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So as I learned in therapy, from the beginning, he's been doing things to me.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to change? Even if I was to decide to have a conversation, like what's going to change? It's certain things that I need inside myself, or I need to know within myself for me to get past it. And I learned throughout therapy and throughout, speaking with wonderful people like you, some things just don't need to be a conversation. Sometimes you just gotta let that go.
Mm-hmm.
You just gotta let that go. And I never, never, never thought in a million years that I would let this go.
Right. And it's funny because you talked about your dad not being there and your brother having such a huge age gap. It's almost like you were supposed to protect me. You were my big brother. You were supposed to protect me and look out for me and not hurt me. So I know, trying to wrap your mind around that, it probably all didn't make sense to you.
Right. It didn't. It really don't either, because now that me and my father has a wonderful relationship, we talk pretty much almost every day. But him not being around growing up, you would have thought that my brother would have been a better brother. But I honestly think that maybe he was always been the way he been because, he didn't have a father figure as well around.
And people just don't understand how important the presence of their parents are, and being as health. No parent is perfect. The doctor don't give you your baby. Here's your baby, and here's a manual telling you how to raise your baby. But what we do need to be is present. We need to be there. We need to show love. We need to show affection. We need to let our kids know that it's okay for them to express affection and emotion. And when we don't have those things, we do tend to act the same way because we weren't taught how to do these things. And it's just a constant cycle. And until you know better or it gets to the point where you're rock bottom, did you hit rock bottom before you sought therapy, or did you just not feel in your spirit that something was right and you were urged to get therapy before you hit rock bottom?
Oh no, I hit rock bottom.
And that's where a
I
lot
hit
of
rock
people
bottom.
go to therapy when they're at rock bottom.
But I've also felt like in life I hit rock bottom before. Especially like being a sexual assault victim,
Hmm.
I never got that therapy from that, and especially what happened. I think what happened afterwards was more traumatizing than me fighting the victim off me. I mean, fighting the man off me, you know. So I think that I never got the type of therapy I needed. Um, and of course, the childhood issues that I've had, staying with my friends, staying with my aunt, staying with my godmom. I never got the therapy for that. So, and I've hit rock bottom several times. But I think this was just pretty much kind of like the icing on the cake as an adult. Like, I'm done, like, I need help. I need help.
And it's amazing that you were open enough to accept the love that your husband was trying to give you. Because a lot of times we don't feel like we deserve that love, so we push it away. What was special and unique about your husband to, allow you to open your heart after being hurt so much?
Because he's very affectionate. That's something that I'm not.
Mhm.
And that's something that I've never had. That I've never had. So if this is something that I've never had and he's giving and he's showing it to me in the midst of everything that I'm going through and he going through as well. And because he don't have any family, he lost his mom due to COVID. So it's like he's going through things as well, but he's pushing his feelings to the back burner to deal with mine.
Mm.
And from day one, and we started off as friends. From day one, he's been there by my side, in my corner, even through the grieving process 2 years after the fact that Karen had passed, and he was there. Like, and I just feel like that energy that he gives me is what I've always needed.
He's a good man, Savannah.
Yes. Like he makes me
Girl, you
makes me
stupid.
be a bigger person that I feel
Mhm.
like that I've never been.
Wow. Push you, encourage you. He's your peace.
Yes. Yes.
It seems like you have definitely come a long way. You didn't have adults to protect you when you were growing up. I don't know if I could have done all the stuff that your brother did to you when you was younger, and you still, when he came out of jail, you still wanted to help him. And then he did that with the apartment, and you still helped him by
Mhm.
starting a business with him. You got a big, huge heart, and
Mhm.
I commend you for that, because the helping him out with the apartment, maybe, but after the trauma of childhood, I might not have even done that. So you have a big, huge heart, and
Why she
being
stay
a
blessed?
right. That's why things come to you. You don't even have to ask that question. That's why things come to you. And one thing that I did hear you say is that you still want to make sure that your family is good.
Yep.
And that's huge. Because now that you found, and we keep saying this, but Sharita and I was talking about this today, finding your peace, man, when you're in that space, when you're in that space, you can't take me out. Once I found that space, I can see a person a mile away that's aiming to take me out of that peace, and now I know how to deal with it.
Yep.
So I commend you for finding your space and being open to your husband. Because a lot of times when we hit rock bottom and we have to pull ourselves up out of the hole or out of the ditch, we're not open to people very often. It takes a long time to open up. But I commend you for opening up to someone that could help you, and someone that could be there for your daughter, and help you see a different world.
Exactly. So, Cheryl, what advice would you give to someone struggling to find their peace?
Stand still.
Mm.
Stand still. God's not going to give you anything you can't handle. Pray. Shift your energy.
Amen. Amen. I want to know, what would you tell that child that is not being protected. What would you tell that that 9, 10 year old Shirl?
Be
Um,
transparent. Be vocal. Tell your truth now.
Mm-hmm.
Now. It's okay to speak your truth. Whatever you got going on, whatever you're going through, say it.
Amen. I
Yes.
agree.
Because
So
it
being
still takes a village. It still takes a
yeah,
village.
that's the
yeah.
truth.
So what advice would you give to a young lady who wants to be an entrepreneur and have their own salon and because it may not it won't easy for you, but it seemed like God always put the pieces in the puzzle together, even when you thought that it wasn't, it happened. What would you tell that person, that young woman that wants to do the same thing that you do or have that desire to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I would tell her, take advantage of your resources.
Mm.
Schools, high schools, you have access to the technical center. You can, by the time you graduate from high school, you could be a licensed cosmetologist. Even if you decide to go off to college and major in something totally different, you will still have that cosmetologist license under your belt. You always can do hair. You could
Mm.
always come back to it. Use
Okay.
your resources.
That's good advice. That's definitely good advice. Well, I have learned a lot.
I
Um,
told you she was amazing. I told you this girl. I told you she was amazing.
the information that you gave us today, it takes a lot. And I'm going to say this again for whomever is listening. It takes a lot to be able to sit down with yourself and dig deep and be able to ask for help, be able to let people know your truth. I commend you for even getting on this podcast because this is going to be shared um, across social media platforms, on YouTube, and someone's going to hear this. Someone that is going through the same thing that you have gone through silently. They're silently going through it now. And what you have said tonight is going to touch them. So I commend you for getting up here and speaking your story and talking about how you found your peace. Because God gave you something. He like you said, he won't take you to something without helping you through it. And he gave you that peace long time ago. You just had to acknowledge, you had to understand that you had it and be able to work yourself through it and being able to open up. You've helped quite a few people. You've helped me understand maybe how to help somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
maybe how to see um, someone that may be going through something and be able to help them through. So I commend you for coming on Inspire Her, the Total Woman, and talking to us about your life, where you came from, what you went through, and where you are now.
Um, last question.
Thank you.
What's next for you, Cheryl?
What's next is I'm turning my pain into a purpose.
Mm.
I'm turning my pain into a profit. So what I want to do is I want to write a book.
Wow.
Um, I'm currently in the early stages. Everything that comes to my mind, everything that I think about, um, I just write it down. I just write it down. And I'm definitely turning my pain into a profit. So that's next.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, we would definitely be promoting your book on Inspire Her.
Yes. And I definitely will be back with all the details.
and we will also advertise your business as well. And hopefully we can get you some more clients.
Yes,
Mm.
please follow me on all platforms. Braids Express, Braids with a Z, BRAIDZ Express. Yeah.
All right. Well, Red, thank you for sharing your friend with us tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. I knew this is gonna be, a great episode. She has a story to tell, and no matter how hard it seems or how hard it looks, there's always some sunshine at the end of that storm. And
I
Shirl is
agree
Yes,
with
it
that.
is.
I agree with that. Well, friends out there listening to Inspire Her, the Total Woman, make sure you share, like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube page. A lot of times we will put information out there about or on any of our social media platforms about our upcoming episodes, live episodes. We'll also ask you to submit questions for upcoming episodes. So if you have questions about something that we're going to be talking about, we will read your questions and your name and let people know that um, you have submitted that question and be able to get our speaker to speak directly to you. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our podcast page and also to our YouTube page. Anything else, Red?
No, I think that's it. You summed it up. Thank you again, Cheryl.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you all.
All
You
right.
too. We appreciate you as well. You guys have a wonderful night. And always remember that if you are going through something, there is someone out there that can help you.
We are here to inspire her, the total woman.
Yes.